Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli, and due to technical difficulties, my guest today was unable to join me. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least speak about who was going to be on the show. And I promise you, one way or another, we'll get her hopefully sometime in December. I was going to speak with Andrea Roberts, and she is the founder and executive director of a Mother's Rest Charitable Respite Foundation. I think it's safe to say, as we moved back into a very busy 2022, all the kids went back to school finally after the coronavirus, and most parents have been back in the office working with people. And we forget to take time for ourselves, whether or not that means having a date night with our sweetie or just getting away and taking a little vacation. Andrea Roberts started this foundation after she has been momming it with a son with Down syndrome for the longest time and realized that she hasn't taken any time for herself. So she designed this nonprofit organization, which is so cool because it has places to stay all over the country. In all 50 states, you can find a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb at a special discounted price. And this is just for moms to take away. I had a friend who used a Mother's Rest, and you can find them online at mothersrest.org or on socials. And she said, Gina, all I did was sleep. You could not imagine how sleep deprived I actually was until she actually took a vacation for herself at a small bed and breakfast. And you can find these in all 50 states. Anyway, getting back to why and what it is that Andrea does, she not only offers this for moms, but she has dad programs too. Dads need to get away just as much as moms do. So if you were thinking, hey, I should plan something great for my husband, this would be an opportunity for him to get away, maybe do a little golfing or just having some alone time is so much appreciated, right? And then moving forward, she has some other things planned. I know that a big event that she was telling me about is a Jekyll Island event where moms and kids can go together and spend the weekend. And it almost always sells out like within the first 10 minutes. And it's held in Jekyll Island. So it's close, it's affordable, it's discounted, and it's a different way to bond with our children outside of the daily hustle and bustle that as moms know all too well, right? So to get away again. Oh, and one last thing, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about the brick fundraiser that a Mother's Rest has for you too. And that's where for a small donation, and again, you can make those donations at mothersrest.org. But when you make those donations, you can get your name or your family's name on a brick, and that's going to be outside of their property in Atlanta, Georgia, here where we are at. So, yeah, if you are thinking, I just need a weekend to get away, but you know what? Everything is so expensive these days. We got you covered, and so does a Mother's Rest. So make sure you go to mothersrest.org. A short drive away, you'll find places in Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. All of these are surrounding areas to Georgia that you can visit and take a well-deserved mini vacation. When we get back, you know what? Since I don't have a guest on today's show, we are going to talk all kinds of places to travel with our special kiddos, and then we'll have some travel tips for you. So stay close. We'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around to Life with the Spectrum. We just got done talking about a mothersrest.org. Go to that website if you want to book a mini vacation for yourself, for your spouse, or maybe you and your kids would like a special bonding moment with their trip to Jekyll Island, a mothersrest.org. And it got me thinking, we are in the holiday travel season. So some suggestions for you if you have kids on the spectrum would be to buy them one of the sunflower lanyards. If they've got a sunflower lanyard on and they travel through any airport, all airport personnel are trained to notice that sunflower lanyard. Excuse me, I just hit my microphone. And basically what that tells them is that they're going to be speaking with someone who's on the spectrum. They're going to be different, but they are definitely not less. they might take a little bit more extra time in making sure they slow down with their speech and how they handle the person themselves. So again, those sunflower lanyards, you can check them out. I think on Amazon they were like $11.99. They might even be cheaper at Walmart, but I know that it comes in handy when you're traveling with someone on the spectrum. I know for Lyric, we've had some great travel experiences with my son. The earliest time he was in an airplane was at 9 months old, and it was a great flight there, but not such a great flight back. And I was one of those parents that everybody was looking at on the plane, and they were shaking their head. But what are you going to do? And at 9 months, it's a little too early to diagnose autism. Now, fast forward to when he was 5. We moved here to Atlanta, Georgia, and that was his first, plane ride as a child where he could remember, right? It was very scary for him. We tried to get him to go up to the cockpit. He wanted nothing to do with it. The best thing that I found for my son at that moment was his technology. It literally saved the day. So remember, when you are traveling, to think about that lanyard first, and then all of those other things that you would pack for your normal kids. Snacks, water, the technology, maybe their favorite stuffed animal or a blanket that they love. I could tell you that the technology, the iPads, the switches, something for games, even if it's your cell phone, giving that to them, they love that. And not every airplane comes equipped with that little TV, on the seat in front of you. Technology will save the day, I promise. But just wanted to also tell you to pack the patience too, because with the holiday season, and we've heard of the travel woes, but more and more people want to get back to some sense of normalcy after the coronavirus. So people are willing to pay whatever it is for plane tickets and then wait in the long lines. And then now that we have some flight shortages and cancellations due to some pilots, going ahead and picketing and things like that for more pay, then you also have to think about possibly staying for extra hours in an airport. And heaven forbid you have to stay overnight. It can be increasingly difficult when you have a child with disabilities to do that, and I get it. So just to recap some travel tips that I've picked up along the way and that other parents have shared with me along the way. We didn't really talk about these before, but most parents know all too well about the noise canceling headphones. They really can come in and save the day. Any type of technology, iPads, switches, something for games, even if it's an old cell phone you don't use anymore. And make sure to pack the snacks. I know we all know about the goldfish, don't we? So grab a couple extra bags, would you? And don't forget your favorite stuffed animal. Ours is Bunny. We've been traveling with her for 10 years and her neck is kind of broken, but stuffed animals or a favorite blanket. If your child has a favorite blanket, bring that too. When we get back, though, let's talk about where to go with kids on the spectrum or kids with disabilities. I got that coming up for you next. Thanks for sticking around to Life with the Spectrum. We've been talking all things travel today as we are coming up on a very busy holiday travel season. And one last thing I forgot to mention is that when booking a flight with kids on the spectrum and with challenges and disabilities, what I notice is not everybody can afford a first class seat. So you're better at booking those seats towards the rear of the plane. And the reason I say that is because it's easier to get to the restroom. It's easier to, especially if we have meltdown situations. And then it's also easier to get with the crew, asking for water, extra pillows or blankets or snacks if you didn't pack any. Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But I also wanted to talk about places to travel to. We've been very fortunate with our son Lyric. He loves to travel. He's pretty good on the airplane now that he's 10, and with every year it gets better and better. And with more years ahead of us, we hope to plan on taking him abroad, like out of the country, over to London and other places. We've taken him down to Mexico, and we found that some of the resorts down there are actually picture perfect. They have inclusive activities, not just, the water slide parks and things like that, but if you go to their kid-friendly playrooms and areas that most resorts offer, that you will find that they have inclusive activities for you to take advantage of. I know that the Caribbean resorts do really good jobs of that as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to be just down in Mexico. uh, outside of Disney World and Disneyland, where you can get special accommodations so that your kids don't have to wait in line. Because let's face it, patience is it's a virtue, and our kiddos don't particularly have that. You can always ask for those types of accommodations when you're booking your trip. Like, hey, I got to have a pass that skips the line, and they get it. They understand, and they're equipped to do this. And other places that offer that are places like Dollywood and Sesame Place in Philadelphia, which, not for nothing, is a wonderful place to take our kids on the spectrum. There's another park in PA called Hershey Park, and they also offer up some quiet rooms, some sensory friendly options for families as well. So don't disregard going to Pennsylvania anytime soon, all right? We want to keep those on our radar. The Great Wolf Lodges, that's a great place to take our kids who, it's funny because autistic children love water, and it's actually a very dangerous thing because so many autistic children don't get the swimming lessons that they need to be water safe. So when you think about going to some of these resorts, obviously you want your kids to be, even if they're not great swimmers, you want them to know how to swim, even though these places have lifeguards. But some of the resorts don't actually offer up lifeguard situations. So keeping them water safe is the number one priority. But cruises, they all have these great Disney cruises and cruises that are sensory friendly, or at least offer sensory friendly options for families once aboard. Zoos do sensory friendly things for our kiddos too, and have adaptive activities. But what I like at some of these theme parks and some of these resorts and cruises is they offer, and now they're offering up, tracker wristbands. So basically, when you check in to get your accommodation, the skip the line pass or whatnot, they'll give you a special band. And this way they can locate your child at any given moment, because a lot of parents have elopement issues, right? I know that we had a lot of elopement issues up until about 6 or 7 years old. And so if I could have put a LoJack and a GPS on Lyric, in fact, I did. I got him the Gizmo watch that also has a built-in GPS. And I don't know exactly how much we pay for it every month. It goes on your bill. Verizon offers the Gizmo. You can check with whoever you have your cell phone plan with and to see what they offer for kiddos. But that's a great option outside of the tracking bands that many of these places will give to you now, and you use it for the day and then you drop it off. It's just like that Disney thing that they send to you now. This one has a little GPS in for around the park. I wanted to make a mention, if you are traveling out of the country, who doesn't want to go to Greece, right? I was checking into this one place in Greece that offers up the coolest thing ever. I have goosebumps when I'm telling you this. So one of these resorts in Greece, we all need a break, right? And not everything is kid friendly that you want to see when you're abroad. And so you can literally leave your kid at the resort, and instead of like the play area or whatever, they will get their services. They offer up speech and language, OT, in many instances a little ABA, while you're out sightseeing in Mykonos. How awesome is that? I want to book that trip. I want to go to Greece. Anyway, I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about some of these cool services that a lot of places, and you can Google all of them. You can Google all of them. You can put in, hey, what was that resort in Greece that offers up speech and language? Just put that in. It'll pop right up. What's the park that offers tracking bands when you check in for your kids? You can Google that. I mean, so many great places to travel. I think what was interesting for our family, just to keep it real with you, is we were very scared to travel with Lyric. When we officially knew the diagnosis at 3 and 4 years old, we were kind of scared to go anywhere. And I think it's because we had the elopement issues, we had severe meltdowns, we had everything maybe that your family has either gone through or is going through at the moment. And so we just didn't. We traveled to like Durango, Colorado, and we went in the car and we got a little cabin. And those are great little vacations, but they're also like just little getaways that you really want to go and have your toes in the sand and a beer in the hand. Mom and dad, we get it, and so maybe if you could look to some of the places that I just mentioned, down in the Caribbean or in Mexico, some of the theme parks around the country. It's not just Disneyland and Disney World that offers these things. It's Dollywood. It's the Sesame Place up in Pennsylvania. It's the Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. And there's about a dozen other places around the country that offer some really cool things for kiddos on the spectrum. And it doesn't have to be diagnosis specific. Kids in general who have challenges and disabilities, they're there to help and work with you, because at the end of the day, they're a business. They want your money, right? So hit Google for more travel tips. Hit Google for great places to travel with kids on the spectrum. I think there's a list of like 30 that pop up instantly when you put something like that into Google. And then don't forget, like I said, and when we opened the show, Andrea Roberts, who is the founder and executive director of a Mother's Rest Charitable Respite Foundation. I want mom and dad to take a break too. And moms can go and just catch up on sleep or have a girl day. Dads can go and catch up on sleep and go golfing on their programs. And then mothers and kids can come together at their big event in Jekyll Island, all at an affordable and reduced price. You deserve to check out a mothersrest.org for that. Again, I promise that we will get Andrea on the show. Hopefully we can get her in December. We had some major technical difficulties that prevented us from recording yesterday. And that's okay. Again, I wanted to make a mention of a mothersrest.org and that great website where you can at least view that. And then think about the holiday rush. I mean, we're going to be traveling. Thanksgiving, Christmas is right around the corner, and then into the new year. Maybe you're planning a trip for spring break. I know that we're planning a trip up to the White House. And just to give you an idea, I was forced to send President Joe Biden a letter, and I did. I got the standard response back from the White House. But April is Autism Awareness Month, and we will be traveling to see everything Washington, D.C. has to offer. And what I immediately started doing was talking to Lyric, talking about how long it takes to do the White House tour, or the Capitol tour, or going through in a museum. But he's so fixated on it. He told me, Mom, I promise I'm not going to check out. So guess what? I'm going to hold him to that standard and to that expectation. And sometimes that's the best way to do it with our kids. They're so smart. They're so bright. They have minds of their own. Oftentimes they can be confused and manipulated. But if you just take a step and let them tell you what they really want, then it makes it so much easier for us to create that experience for them and for us to move forward and give them a great life and a great childhood. So again, listen, I thank you for coming and checking out these episodes. I know it's a little shorter than normal, and I know we didn't have any guests, but hopefully you grabbed something from it. And please feel free, not only like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Life with the Spectrum show here on YouTube, but also if there's somebody that I need to be speaking with, please email me. My email is Gina, Gina, at GCAST, GKASTS.com, Gina at GCAST.com. I will look into them and I'll see if I can't get them on the show. Maybe there's a family that has made a difference, or a family that you'd like and you believe that needs to be spotlighted because of just their amazing story that they've got. Again, email me at Gina at GCAST.com, GKASTS.com, and continue to like, share, subscribe to Life with the Spectrum. And until next time, we'll see ya.